and go ahead and mute everybody. Beautiful. So welcome to our weekly 10 a.m. Make Money Now coaching call. And it's really interesting. I usually do these calls based upon the content is based upon what I've experienced from the week before, or what seemed to have been the most questions I've had from the week before. And it's interesting, I had 3 people in the past couple of weeks talk to me about having trouble with affirmations and having trouble with that morning routine. And then I was really moved by a video that Bruce, who's on the call, had done earlier in the week, just about some limiting beliefs and limiting beliefs and mindset, are things that I have struggled with, and that's one of the reasons why that is the framework of today's call. And for those of you who have not been on my calls before, I do this quick little background of what my experience is, so you understand the perspective of where I'm coming from. And I was the #1 new agent in Florida in 2005 and 2006. I've sold over 120 million in 1 year. I have listed 120 properties in a single year. I'm a national trainer and coach. I've owned 3 different brokerages. I've worked with every major brand. I'm the former chief operating officer of The Real Recruiter and Chet Black Solutions, and I'm a former Tom Ferry coach. And there is a document, and I've uploaded it into our Make Money Now coaching Facebook group. And this is a document that I've gotten out to a lot of people. You've probably already seen it. And it's my Agent Daily Tasks document. And these are the daily tasks for team members on teams that I have run in the past. And it changes a little bit, but ultimately it's the same things, working on those same core 4 lead gen sources and getting us moving in the right direction. And the first part of it is things that have to do with our mindset and with getting ourselves ready for our day. And I had a couple of people actually reach out to me, and I think Amy's on the call now, saying, hey, that, I'm struggling with that part of it. So mindset, when it comes to our daily tasks, mindset, doing daily affirmations, getting ourselves set up in the day, and I'll get into some very specific details about how to do this. Positive energy, shifting our energy to a positive place. Different people wake up in different moods. And for me, I wake up with my mind running 1,000,000 miles an hour in directions that I don't need it going in. And I actually need a morning routine in order to get my mind focused and in the direction that I want it going in. And that includes creating positive energy. And then I need to be focusing on what my daily objectives are. What are the things that I really want to accomplish today? So I'm going to get into these very specifically, but then also in addition to that, personal development. What am I reading or listening to? And within my team, there's always a team book that we are reading. And right now it's the book Grit by Angela Duckworth, which is one of the seminal books, I believe, in establishing routines and understanding what it takes to be successful. And then education. And I suggest spending at least a half an hour a day focused on improving your real estate skills. And if you have trouble with knowing what to do, definitely feel free to reach out, and I can help you get settled on a plan that works for you. So I'm going to dig into affirmations, and I want to talk about creating affirmations. And for me, the whole purpose of an affirmation is to conquer a limiting belief that I have. And a limiting belief is a false belief that a person acquires as a result of making an incorrect conclusion about something in life. So this is the story of my life. So I take incomplete information and make a rule in my head that then I follow to the letter of the my mind's law, and it usually has absolutely no basis in reality whatsoever. And so I'm going to share one of my limiting beliefs and how I created an affirmation around this, just so that you have an example. And here is my example. Those of you that know me well know that this is true. I am very defensive when I'm criticized. I do not like ideas that are not mine. And when someone suggests something to me, I take offense at it, and I get very, very defensive when I'm criticized. So one of the steps to creating an affirmation is to reflect on what would it feel like if this was not true. What would it feel like if I was open-minded to criticism? What would that feel like? How would that manifest itself in my life? And then next, am I open to the possibility that I take criticism well? So I want to ask myself these questions. Am I open to the possibility that I'm an inspiring leader? Am I open to the possibility, whatever that limiting belief that you has, ask yourself, am I open to the possibility that is not true, or that the opposite is actually true? And then the positive affirmation that I have is I take feedback without being defensive. And it's interesting, in my experience, when I say an affirmation more than 10 times as a part of my morning routine, it usually plays itself out in my day. So I usually suggest, and I've got a couple of people that I'm working on this with, that you create 2 or 3 affirmations that, for me, what I do is I write them on my bathroom mirror using whiteboard erase markers. And that way, every time I'm in the bathroom, every time I see them, I say these affirmations to myself. And I have found that when I do this, and as I do this, these things change. I had a real difficult time changing gears in business. So I couldn't shift well within doing one thing and then going on to doing something else. And a friend of mine, a fellow Tom Ferry coach, had actually worked me through it with this same process. And now that's no longer a problem for me because I worked through it. And one of the things that I've learned about my limiting beliefs is that I always have limiting beliefs. It's not like they go away. They just evolve and change. And I believe that it's important for me to be working on my affirmations on a daily basis and changing them as they change and evolve. So the takeaway from this is look at a couple of your limiting beliefs and begin the process of creating an affirmation to go forward from it. So as I was doing some research and beginning the process, one of the people that I follow is Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory. He recently had Robin Sharma on his show. And I want to talk about the 20-20-20 of Robin Sharma. So Robin Sharma, if you're not familiar with him, is one of the top motivational speakers, one of the top thought leaders in this space. And he really does a good job of combining the physical and the mental and the spiritual. And so the 20-20-20 of Robin Sharma is right when we wake up, that first hour that we're awake, he talks about spending 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes of our day, with sweat producing activity. So such high energy, high impact. For those of you that are into fitness, so this would be like, high, intent, like a HIIT type of training, high intensive interval training. But 20 minutes of sweat producing activity, it releases endorphins into our system and it gets us moving in that positive direction. His next 20 is 20 minutes of meditation and reflection on your annual goals and quarterly objectives. So in that first hour, I've got 20 minutes of just going really crazy, to the wall, hyperactivity that's going to get me sweating. And as I'm sweating, I'm then spending that next 20 minutes of a meditation reflective, changing my energy, changing my mood, and reflecting on my annual goals and my quarterly objectives. And then the last 20 minutes of either learning or inspiration. If you're a reader, if you like books, it's grabbing that inspirational book that you're reading. If you like listening to audiobooks, it's listening to 20 minutes of that audiobook that you're listening to. And I'm going to give you some sources at the end of this for what I believe are some of the greatest places to actually access some of this information. So Robin Sharma's 20-20-20 is a great morning routine. One of the other things that Robin talks about is getting up at 5 a.m. and getting things done before the sun comes out. And if you're a night owl, this will sound horrible to you. What I found is most night owls can be converted to morning people. They don't necessarily like it, but it is possible. And I read another article about just a guy who was basically saying that the 2020 or the getting up at 5 a.m. almost killed him. And reading the rest of the things he was talking about, I don't know that would be a bad thing if that mindset that he has about getting up at 5 a.m. if that was killed, because it didn't seem like he was very, very productive. I know that almost all of the people I know that function at an extremely high level have a good, solid, standard morning routine, and they get up early. That morning part, that the things that we can get done, there was that old, was it Marine Corps commercials, that we get done more before 9 a.m. than most people get done all day. So next, I want to talk about daily objectives. And on a daily basis, one of the things that I do is I've got a notepad next to me, and I jot down what are the 3 most important objectives that I have today. What are the 3 most important things that I want to get accomplished today? And these can be tasks. These can be, working on a particular project. It can be doing something specific that I haven't been doing or that I'm not doing. But I think it's important as we look at our daily objectives to look at what the 3 most important objectives are for the day. When I first started running my team in Florida back in 2005, I did what was called 7s and 7s, and that is a 7 a.m. and a 7 p.m. So everybody that was on the team at 7 o'clock in the morning, we were on a group call together. This before conference calling and before Zoom and things like this. And it was just, we would get on and we would get on the call together at 7 a.m. and we would all just go through what are the 3 main objectives we had for the day, what are the 3 main things we want to get done for the day. And then at 7 o'clock at night, we would talk about, did we get them done, what got in the way, and a refocusing effort. So one of the things when you look at your 3 most important objectives is, are they in line with your quarterly and annual objectives? So if you've just reviewed your quarterly and annual objectives, are the 3 things that you're saying are most important that you get done today in line with the things that you want to get done for the quarter and for the year? If they're not, then you might want to change that up. And then what is the consequence of not completing them? And I'm going to throw this out to everybody. Everyone I ask says the same thing. When I ask them this simple question, are you more motivated by a positive reward for getting something done or a negative consequence for not getting something done? Everyone says, I am more motivated by a positive reward. And guess what? This is one of these wonderful areas where most of us are not that self-aware, because I used to say that too, and it's not true. I am motivated by negative consequences. The thought of not getting something done that needs to get done is bigger than the reward of getting it done. And when I don't have a big negative consequence for not getting something done, I create one. And for me, this is part of accountability. And I'll throw this out. And maybe next week we can dig into this. One of my mentors, John Chiplak, says that accountability is observation without judgment. So accountability is not me saying you're an idiot because you didn't get it done. It's you didn't get it done. That's my observation. There's no judgment there. It's not saying whether you're good or bad for not getting it done. It's just the observation that you didn't get it done. So what I have found is I can create some accountability for myself sometimes by creating a large enough consequence for not getting something done. But ultimately, I need to involve someone else in that accountability, or I don't get it done, especially if it's something that's hard for me. And For those of you that are familiar with the concept of eating the frog, if you look at your daily task list, and on your daily task list is eat a frog, it should be your very first task because it's the hardest one. If you have 2 frogs that you need to eat that day, then you eat the bigger, more disgusting one first. So when I'm looking at what I need to get done, for me, creating some accountability is important because it pushes me over the edge in getting something done. So, I'll just throw this out to you. One of the things that's on my list on a regular basis is reaching out to new agents that I don't already have a relationship with to talk to them about their real estate career. And I send my accountability partner, Bettina, I send her green check marks for every person that new person that I don't have a relationship already with that I interact with on a daily basis. And these green check marks make her happy. And so that is part of my accountability with her. And one of the things for me from a self-realization standpoint is I had to come to a place where I understood what really motivates me. And I have found that the number one motivator that I have is not disappointing someone that loves me and believes in me. So I don't want to disappoint those people. So Bettina is one of my best friends, and the last thing I would do is to disappoint her. So sending her those green check marks is a great accountability for me, because the last thing I want to do is disappoint Bettina. So as you're creating accountability, and I'll throw this out. I had a young Compass agent when Compass was first starting out. Dude was amazing. $40-50 million producer up in Boston. 25 years old. Does business basically with his eyes closed out and thinking about it. And he wanted to get more systematized, and he was very, very big on fitness, his image, how people perceived him. That was very important to him. And so what we finally did is he was not allowed to brush his teeth. His accountability, not mine. He was not allowed to brush his teeth until he had made his morning phone calls. And what that did for him, because he could not leave the house without brushing his teeth because his self-conscious thought he would, breath smells and all of that, is he made sure he got his calls done first thing in the morning. And it took us maybe 4 or 5 months to come up with that. And you know what? It was amazing. Within a couple of weeks, it just became his habit. He got up, he did his exercise, he had his breakfast, he made his calls, and then he brushed his teeth and went out for the day. And it just became habit. So personal development and education is that third part of that morning routine that I was talking about. And I want to point you in some directions that I have found very useful. The first is impact theory. If you're not familiar with impact theory, you should be. Tom Bilyeu is an amazing serial entrepreneur. If you've ever seen the Quest bars, he's the one that him and his business partners invented the Quest bars. That was his second huge multi-million-dollar company. And he started about, I think it was 2.5 years ago with impact theory, where he interviews for an hour an impactivist, somebody who is actually impacting the world every week. And just to find out what it is that they do to be successful. And actually his latest one was with Robin Sharma, which I just happened to be looking at. But subscribe to Impact Theory, go to Impact Theory. I've got, and it's here on my wall, this is the Impact Theory beliefs system in 25 bullet points. And you know what? I read through these, and this is what I really believe, and I'm not going to read through all of them, but I'll just share some of these with you. Is number one, human potential is nearly limitless. Personal growth is the highest priority of impactivists. You can acquire new skills in any area at any time. Number five is the one I love the most. You can do anything you set your mind to without limitation. Number 6 is number 5 is a lie. but it's an empowering lie. Impactivists do and believe that which empowers us. So download this. You get prompted to download it as soon as you go to Impact Theory's website. I've got it up on my wall, just as something that I refer back to on a regular basis. So next, for those of us that are in real estate and are striving to do better in our real estate business, there are a lot of amazing coaches out there. There are a lot of amazing resources for information. And two of them I'm going to highlight here. Tom Ferry has his Tom Ferry Show. He's got the Tom Ferry podcast. You can go to his YouTube channel. I have never done or watched a Tom Ferry video and not walked away with something new that I can use in my business, or with feeling better than when I saw the episode to start off with. The next, especially if you want to get a little bit deeper, is Joe Stumpf. So Joe Stumpf is the thought leader in neurolinguistic programming for real estate. And for those of you that don't know, Joe Stumpf started in the 80s, and out in San Diego. Brian Buffini used to work for Joe. So many of the thought leaders have spent time with Joe Stumpf, including myself, including John Sheplack, including Kinder Reese Boys. So, so many of us have sat at the knees and at the feet of Joe Stumpf and just absorbed his knowledge. At the age of 50, he went back and did Navy SEAL training. And, he is, I think he's ranked right now, he's only like the 20th or 21st in the over 50 in the CrossFit Games. The man's just a legend. So he's definitely somebody that you can get information from, and I would definitely advise beginning to understand his language and getting into his mindset for your mindset. The next, Robin Sharma, who I mentioned. I love Robin Sharma. I love Tony Robbins. I love Sharon Srivatsa. There are John Sheplack. These are people that have truly impacted me in a meaningful way. Go to their website. They do blogs. They do videos. When I think about the things that so many of us do, we spend 2 or 3 hours a day watching television or doing things that are mindless when we could be doing things that are mindful. David Goggins, if you have any pain or suffering in your life, David Goggins is the man that you need to follow, because he is one of the people who I admire the most for how he has channeled this pain and suffering that he's had in life into success. I've had the privilege of being able to spend some personal one-on-one time with David backstage at Tom Ferry events. The man is truly amazing. He's also, when it comes to impact theory, Tom Bilyeu, David Goggins is the only person that has been on impact theory twice. So that tells you how impactful he has been on Tom. Simon Sinek, if you're not familiar with Simon Sinek and Get to Why and understanding your why, he's definitely somebody that you should follow. And Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Work Week and his succession of books. These are just some of the people. I could keep going on and on and on about people that I follow and that are important to me. But ultimately, this is, a place to start. If you're saying, well, Chris, you're telling me I should be, spending a half an hour a day on personal growth and personal development and education, start with impact theory. Go to impact theory, go to the very, very first impact theory video, watch half of it today, half of it tomorrow. And then day 3, half, right? So just keep going through his videos, and he's doing one a week. He's done it for 2.5 years. So that's your first, pretty much, 100 days. If you like Tom Ferry and you're a Tom Ferry fan, do the same thing with the Tom Ferry Show. This is going to get your mind going in the direction that it needs to go to in order to be. There we go. Craig's showing me his impact theory, 25 things. So, all right. So as I was doing all of this, I was severely impacted by Robin Sharma. And I don't know that I'm going to do this. Bruce, Craig, Juan, if you're on the call, people that I interact with on a regular basis, I am contemplating making this commitment and doing this, but I'd like to do this. Maybe a few of us do this. Is the 90-91, and the 90-91 is for 90 days. Do the one most important, most impactful thing for the first 90 minutes of every day. Robin Sharma said that if you do this, it will totally transform your business. And so I think about, for me, the things that I am saying right now are the most impactful things. So talking to agents that I don't already know, interacting with people who I believe I can help in their real estate careers, and you know, what if I was doing this in the first 90 minutes of every day for 90 days, and I just made that commitment that's what I did. So I'm contemplating doing this. I'd love your feedback on it. Bruce, I immediately thought of you. Craig, I thought of you. Juan, I thought of you. Like if there were Neb, 5 or 6 of us that said, okay, this is what we're going to do, especially around talent attraction and the way that we want to be interacting with other agents. So I'll throw that out. This is something that I'm seriously considering. So I know that it took me a long time to develop a habit of doing affirmations, and I'm still not great at it. But it is something that I go back to when I see myself falling into traps that I consider negative. And when I begin to look at the world from a negative perspective as opposed to a positive perspective, when I begin to get scarce as opposed to abundant. So if you want help in building some affirmations for yourself, definitely feel free to reach out to me. This is what, for me, this is where my joy is having an impact on other people and being able to help other people. So my email address, chris1234weaver@gmail.com. My phone number is 469-431-5208. If you've got another phone number for me, I have 2. They both go to the same phone, and there's absolutely no rhyme or reason for when I use one or the other. It's just, I'm crazy that way. I've got my YouTube channel. It's tied to that email address where I am uploading the Make Money Now calls. Also, we have our Make Money Now Facebook group where you have access to these recorded calls and also interaction. And this is where I upload files like the slides for this, and also that daily task, that team member daily task list is uploaded. I uploaded it this morning. For those of you that are here local in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, every Tuesday at 11 o'clock at my local Starbucks, this is Coit and Beltline here in Richardson, we have a pop-up mastermind. It means those who wish to come. We talk about what's topical. We talk about what we might be dealing with or struggling with in our real estate careers. And it's a fun, safe environment to come and interact on all things real estate. Most of you know I'm a sinfully proud EXP agent and coach. And for those of you that want to find out why I love EXP so much, you're more than welcome, if you're here local, to join us at Anamia's in Plano, at Parker and Preston on Thursdays at 11:30. We have lunch, and then we go through a wonderful presentation just letting you know about EXP. So that is the end of my presentation. I've come down to the final minute of our coaching call. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. And feel free to reach out to me with any comments. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording and end the call. For those of you that are coming back to the Talent Attraction Coaching call, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then I'll start that call up, and we'll get going with that. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a